Hey everyone, and welcome back to Zero Escape 999, where last time we made it out of the shower room and found ourselves very quickly back in the hospital room with everyone else. Clover now unfortunately knows about her brother's death, which she deserves to know, but it's also, God, I wish this had never happened. So, the question that Clover asked us and that we left off on last time: is Zero one of us? So, between episodes, I went over the math again for all the possible culprits for Snake. Snake can't be one of the culprits because Snake was a victim and his bracelet can't be counted twice. And initially I ruled out Clover, June, and Junpei. Clover because she is Snake's sister and it would be absolutely inconceivable for her to have killed him. And then June and Junpei because they are kind of each other's alibis, not that anyone else necessarily has to believe them. Especially since 5 and 6 adds to 11, which is 2. Never mind. They would need at least one other person in order to stick Snake in the door, but still, nobody really has any reason to believe them if they vouch for each other. But we do know that June and Junpei were together the whole time, so we can be June's alibi, at least from our perspective, and June knows that we were not the culprit. And then the 9th man is, of course, dead, so can't include him. So I went over again, and without ruling out Clover, because as improbable as it seems, we don't know the full story behind Clover and Snake. We don't know how close their sibling relationship is. It seems to be close, but we don't know that for sure. We aren't them. However, if we include Clover as a potential suspect, that only adds one other possible option: 4, 7, 8. So all of the possible options for culprits who threw Snake through the door are 3 and 7, 4, 7, and 8, and 1, 3, 7, and 8. And you'll notice that 7 is in every single possible combination. So 7's looking kind of really suspicious. We're gonna want to be careful. We did decide last time that that Zero is almost certainly on the ship. It's the only way I can conceive of that the parts of the Reds here in the hospital room were stolen. Our group was the first ones there, and the Red parts were already gone by then. The other group arrived later. So, it can't have been anyone. We have accounted for everyone, and no one could have made it to the Reds to remove those parts before we got there. So Zero has to be on the ship then. Zero has to be on the ship to have, 1, taken the parts out, and 2, put the parts back. Because only Zero, if it was Zero, would have known where the parts were stashed. And it can't have been any of us who removed it during the game to know where they were stashed. However, Clover's asking if one of us is possibly Zero. And I think that is possible. That's even reasonable. Because we haven't seen Zero running around the ship. No one's run into Zero on accident. Granted, Zero knows everything that's going on. Probably knows exactly how to get around without being spotted. However, it is possible for Zero to be one of us, because when we were all out searching for the red parts, the red parts were returned here. If Zero took a risk in putting the parts back while we were all running around, they could have been spotted, unless they were one of us, and therefore it would have been logical to encounter them, putting the parts back after finding them when we were supposed to be doing that anyway. And if Zero is one of us, they could have removed the parts before the game began. We've gone through the game up to this point, and now that we're here, they know where the parts are. They can go there after probably a reasonable delay to make it look like they're searching, and then put the parts back. So I think it's certainly possible. I think Clover's idea that one of us is Zero is definitely very possible and very terrifying. So, Clover, I think I agree with you. Well, that's possible. Huh? Like Clover said, Zero might be one of us. What are you saying, Junpei? Didn't you hear what Ace said? Exactly. I said we shouldn't suspect one another for no reason. No reason? I've got a great reason. And what's that? I don't know, corpse in the shower room? The bracelets. Oh? He held out his left arm. Why are the bombs in our bodies connected to the bracelets? You're all thinking Zero's hiding somewhere watching us, right? If he's doing that, then he could just detonate the bombs by remote control if someone did something they weren't supposed to. It'd be a lot more precise and a lot easier. But if that's the case, then why is the bomb set off by the detonator in the bracelet? That's a good point. There is so much of this game that is automated, it would make sense for Zero to not be in direct control of it. In other words, Zero would have to... If Zero's made this all automated for a reason, then that means Zero can't be controlling it, and participating in the game as one of us would make sense. Huh, you got a point. I'm not done. Try applying the same ideas to the nonary game. All the puzzles here run all by themselves. In other words, Zero doesn't have to be controlling them for the game to move forward. Why is that? Why would Zero bother to do something like that? Junpei let the question hang in the air and looked at the others. It was Santa who answered. So let's say you and Clover are right. Zero's one of us. God, that's the second time I've said someone else's name instead of Zero. It's always the S names. I'm just having a bad time with S names. If that's the case, then it'd be really hard for him to keep track of all of us or control anything remotely. That's why all the puzzles run by themselves. That's what you're getting at, right? Yeah. Junpei nodded. It makes a lot of sense. It would explain a lot. Though there's still the question of why set up the game in the first place. Is there a reason? Does Zero just think it's funny? 7, when we were talking earlier, you said any one of us could be Snake's killer, right? Yeah, something like that. Alright, then I've got a question for you, Ace. You said something like Zero must be the one who killed Snake, right? Yes, something like that. I can't think of any other explanation. So what do we get if we combine those? They fit together pretty well, I think. Something like this. Whoever killed Snake is Zero, is one of us. 7 and Ace's theories aren't mutually exclusive, they actually complement each other pretty well. At least they do if Zero is one of us. No one spoke. But then why would Zero go out of their way to deliberately kill someone specific? Like, why set up the game in the first place if they're gonna go out of their way to deliberately kill someone? Wouldn't they have just killed Snake from the start? Why run the game at all if they're going to interfere with it like that? Their faces were grim, but Junpei wasn't sure if they believed him or not. Finally, Lotus spoke up. What were his motives? His motives? Yes. Isn't that pretty important? Why would Zero want to hide as one of us? Oh, well, that's because, Junpei choked. He hadn't thought of that, and he had to be honest with himself. He had no idea. Yeah, there's bits of this that don't line up. There's a lot that makes sense if it fits together, but there's also some stuff that just doesn't make logical sense. Why? We're dealing with someone who set up the nonary game. An absolutely absurd game. I guess it doesn't have to make logical sense. Zero could just be completely out of their mind. I don't know. Lotus sighed. Well, so much for making a persuasive argument, Junpei. I mean, we don't have all the pieces, but that doesn't mean we can't fit together what we have. In other words, you had only circumstantial evidence. I don't really think that's enough to go on, you know? Junpei was painfully aware of their eyes on him and their disapproval. He tried to find something else, anything else to look at. Just when he felt he could bear it no longer. Oh no. much time do we have? They heard a bell begin to ring. I heard 3 chimes. It was the clock at the central staircase. 3 in the morning. That means we have 3 hours left. Then we need to move, now. 7, Clover, Junpei. I know how you feel, but you do understand that right now, it's important we trust one another, don't you? Junpei couldn't bring himself to respond. You're not wrong. The current goal is to escape the ship. We can figure out all the details as we go. Right now, we need to survive. He swallowed the words he wanted to say and sighed. 7 and Clover remained similarly silent. Their eyes were looking at something somewhere else, very far away. We must go. We have very little time left. Ace's words put their feet to moving. We have until 6 a.m. We've got 3 hours left. They all knew where they were going. Their next destination was Mercury. Oh, that was the Mercury key, not the Venus key. My mistake. They stood in front of the elevators next to the stairs that led to the casino and the kitchen. Between the 2 elevators was a card reader with the Mercury symbol engraved on it. Junpei stood in front of it with a Mercury key card. He found the card while investigating the shower room. God, I feel silly for thinking that was Venus, but you know what? I don't know my astrological symbols, forgive me. He took a deep breath and slid the card through the reader. It made a small beep and the lights on the reader blinked to life. Now they were ready. 7 people, including Junpei, climbed onto the elevator. God, we really don't have a lot of time. Maybe my idea of them going in one group after the other would have not worked in the first place. There are only 2 floor buttons they could push. The C and bottom buttons. The rest were destroyed or did nothing when pushed. Junpei hit the bottom button. The door closed. Slowly, they began to move downward. Sometime later, all 7 of them stepped off the elevator and onto the bottom deck. They stepped off and saw that the hallway to the right ended somewhere between 20 and 25 feet from them. The hallway in front of them was a dead end, but not a regular dead end. Number 2. This is a numbered door. Yeah, it's door 2. Immediately, they began to discuss who would go through it. Their earlier experiences had showed them that they would meet again regardless of which numbered door they took. Yeah, that happened with every numbered door so far. And judging from the map, on C deck, it looks like the same will happen with 7 and 8 doors, because 7 looks like it goes to this room, which will pop out on the bottom, I believe, which is the same hallway where shower room popped out. And 8 looks like it goes to this room, which exits bottom, same hallway. As a result, there were no arguments this time. Instead, they concerned themselves with who would be sent in to investigate what was beyond the door. The first to volunteer was 7. Junpei followed suit, which meant that Lotus was, by default, the 3rd member. 5 plus 7 plus 8 is 20, 2 and 0 is 2. Alright, we're taking off. Okay, please be careful. Jesus, you 2 are acting like you're married, you know that? Jun blushed. So did Junpei. Perhaps in an attempt to hide his emotions, he quickly turned away to pull the lever on the red. And I know this is a short one, and I apologize for that, but I want to make sure that the escape rooms are their own contained episodes, and as we have seen, going through a numbered door very quickly leads to an escape room. So, short episode, apologies, but next time on Zero Escape 999, we see what's beyond door 2 with 7 and Lotus. Oh no, what was 7? Oh god. Wait, oh no, I just realized. 7's the most suspicious because he's in every possible group of killers. He's the one who claims to have amnesia. He could be faking that. He stands out as the only one with amnesia. He could be faking that. He is the most suspicious person here. Oh, this could be bad. And in 2 of the 3 possible sets of killers for Snake, Lotus is there too. Oh no. next time on Zero Escape 999. Oh, things could get ugly. I'll see everyone next time for that.